Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 19 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. We are picking up right where we left off, and as you can see, our assembler has finished, our cart assembler, and we have our modular cart. So, cool. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to actually, I think, finish setting this thing up. So why don't we get to it right now? First things first, as you guys can see, I've cleared out a pretty big area with the filler, and I can confirm the thing I made reference to about how the filler was not to be used as a quarry. That change has been put in. Basically, you'll notice that no longer does all the stuff that the filler clears out drop on the ground. Well, it drops on the ground, but only for a very split seconds. Faster, it goes away faster than you can even really pick it up. So that's a good change, I think. But that said, we're going to actually get to setting up this whole system. Now, I want to be sure, this is kind of something I want to be careful about how I set this up. So why don't I do something like this. Basically just going to lay down a bunch of track. I'm not exactly sure. I definitely want it to end here. So, yeah. Trying to think while I'm building. Again, not the best of ways for me to go about things most of the time. We might run out of track here. I'm not exactly sure how big of an area we really want to do. Thinking that might be good for now. How much more track do we have? We only have 4, so yeah, that's going to use up all of our track. That should be good enough. If we need to expand it later, obviously we can. So let's take our modular cart and just slap it down. You can see the second we put it down, it's going to raise up its solar panel and get into position. And it should start moving immediately because it's going to build up a little bit of power. Here's the inventory of it. You can see, there it went. You can see it's got an internal buffer for power, which is good because obviously when there's no sunlight, it'll stop running. But it's also got basically its supplies for its woodcutter, which is pretty much where the saplings are going to go. And it's also got its side chest where all of its harvested materials are going to go. The really cool thing about this machine is that it's pretty smart. It not only harvests, but it also plants. So, like if I were to go ahead and give it a stack of saplings, it's going to start working. And it's going to plant them every second block. Yeah. So cool. I'm actually probably going to grab a bit of smooth stone and make it so that it can't actually build on this side. Why? Because I'm mean that way, I guess. So, mostly just because this is where we're going to have it stop to basically deal with whatever it harvests. So, it's going at a pretty good clip, and you can see it's got lots of power building up, and it's got lots of oak saplings in here to work with. And this is basically just going to keep running and keep going around in this circle endlessly until it finds a tree. So why don't I clip the video, and as soon as a tree pops up, I'll be back and I'll show you guys what happens. Alright, I'm back. You can see a tree popped up and it's about to work. So obviously when it gets underneath the leaves, it'll start running out of power, but look how fast that thing runs. Knocks down all the leaves, chops down the tree in no time flat, and you can see it collects whatever whatever saplings it gets from cutting down the tree, it collects the wood, and it even has a chance of collecting apples. So we're going to get a lot of good resources out of this thing. And it's pretty much just going to keep running like this pretty much forever. So, that done, I actually think I'm going to destroy that one as well, just because, well, kind of keeps a certain amount of things clear right here. So with that done, our next step is to be able to have this guy offload whatever he collects. That's going to be pretty important. And to do that, we're going to build a couple more devices, machines from Steve's carts. And you can see my inventory is still a mess from last episode. But the first thing we're going to do is build ourselves a cargo manager. We're actually going to need both of these, a cargo manager and the distributor. But I'll go over the manager first. And once again, it calls for quite a bit of this random stuff, but it's not too bad. I'm actually going to make a bunch more of these chest panes because we're probably going to need them. There we go. Full stack of them should do. So let's just go through and make all of this random stuff. So we need lots of iron panes, which is going to be like so. How many are we going to need total? We need 4, 16, plus 9 times 4 is 36, so 52 total, just for that. Yeah, sounds like a lot. And we're probably going to need a couple more. I actually think that's going to do us. That was a lot of stuff. So let me just start slapping these together. We're going to need 4 of those. I believe 4 of those. Okay. Then we're going to need... Got that, we got that. We just need our large dynamic pane. And for that we're going to need 4 of these. And what was it, like that? Yes. Cool. I think that's everything. Was it flipped around? I do that a lot. I always end up flipping recipes around. There we go. Cargo manager. Cool. So while we're here, why don't we also go ahead and get our cargo distributor made, because we're going to need it later anyway. So once again, we're going to need 4 of these. Ooh, we are really chewing through our iron. Probably going to have to go mining. I know I've been sort of slack about getting some automatic mining stuff done, but I just couldn't wait to do this because this is cool. Steve's carts is neat. I have to admit, I officially like it. Cargo distributor. Cool. So we got both of our machines, our cargo manager and our cargo distributor. So I'm going to go over the cargo manager first because that's, I think, the most complicated of the 2 machines and the one that's easiest to sort of get stumped on. So we're just going to put it down. And you can see each of the sides of it is a different color. So if we had multiple different carts with lots of rails, we can basically interface with all 4 sides and do different things with them. But we're really only going to need to interface with one side, and that's the yellow side. So I opened up the inventory here, or the GUI rather, and it looks really complicated. What is all this stuff? Well, basically what this is this controls whether things are coming out of the manager into a cart or out of a cart into the manager. So pretty much wherever the arrows are pointing, that is what that color is doing. So pretty simply, we can also click on the center and you can see we can change some of the options here. Currently each side has its own slots. Right now everything is, obviously each side is different colored. I can click it again and it'll be each color has its own slots. Now basically, or we can just have all slots are shared. I think for my benefit, I don't think you really need to do it this way, but this is a really easy way for me to sort of visualize it. And I think it's really useful. Basically the way this thing runs is it will do whatever is up here, then it will do this, then it will do this, and then it will do this. So it always goes top to bottom in a Z pattern. So you can kind of set up an order of things that you want to do. That's kind of important, at least for what I want to do with this thing. So first things first, you can see there's lots of different options here. The first thing we want to do is have everything in the cart, everything in the storage slots go into the cart manager. This will cause... Oh, I'm actually going to sleep through the night real quick so we don't get jumped by a creeper. I'll be back. Alright, so before I continue on with that, I realized that there's actually one other thing we need here. And that is something called an advanced detector rail. This is from Steve's cart, so it's made a little differently than our Railcraft carts. We're not going to have to roll up any of our... I think we need 2 of these. Yeah, any of our rails in the rolling machine. So we just got to put this together like so. This is basically how the cart is going to realize that it needs to stop at our cargo manager. So yeah, so basically I'm just going to pop back over here, remove this track, and replace it. So that should do it. That should be all it needs. So back to this, right? So right now we have it basically saying, hey, when you stop at this detector rail, interface with the yellow side, and input everything from your storage into the cargo manager. And so we should see that actually happen here shortly. This thing appears to have kind of run out of power. And it's probably because we let it run at night a little too much. Got stuck underneath a tree, so... Why did it turn around? There we go. Okay, trees, seriously, now you're just griefing me. Stop it. When this thing is actually fully running on its own, this really won't be a problem. So there we go. Now it has stopped at the cargo manager and has offloaded everything in it. Well, right now we also have it set to pick up everything, and we don't really want it to do that. Okay, this thing appears to be back to running at full clip. So the next thing we want it to do is we want it to be able to... Basically, we want it to also... I'm trying to think about which order we want this to go. We want it to take its saplings and drop them into the cargo manager. And there's a reason I'm doing it in this order. Because right now, obviously, it's collecting whatever saplings it has and it's putting it right into its wood cutter, which is good because it means as it cuts down trees, it will automatically replant those trees. But we really don't need it to have that many trees at once. In fact, the whole point of this is that we kind of want to get a lot of trees. We want to use this to get lots of these saplings. So you can see it's going to finish dumping off everything, then it's going to dump off all of its saplings, and technically it'll be out of saplings, so it won't be able to plant new trees. That's why it's important to realize which order this cargo manager goes in, because then we can say, hey, then we want you to take some saplings. Let's get back to our saplings, but we don't want it to take the maximum number of saplings, otherwise we'll just empty the cart manager again and be full of saplings. We're going to tell it, take, let's say, probably doesn't need more than 16 at any given point, realistically. So there it goes. It's offloading all of its stuff. Let's see. I'm not sure why all the saplings are going there, but it should be working right. Okay, so it's got 20 at the moment. Let's watch this thing for a minute. Just make sure it's going the way it should. Okay. It's dumping off all of its items. It's dumping off its saplings. And then it picked up its 16 saplings. So cool. So now it's always going to maintain an internal buffer of 16 saplings while dropping everything else it collects off at our cargo manager. Cool. So obviously it's not going to keep running at the moment, but there we go. This way it'll never, it should always manage to keep 16 in here, which is exactly what we want. Right now it looks like our trees kind of are taking a break at growing, but this was actually running really, really nice and fast, and usually didn't have to go in too many circles, but yeah, this thing is cool and it's running. So the next part of this machine is basically going to be trying to find a way to get these saplings that we're collecting out of here. And part of that is going to be a little complicated because I definitely want to make sure it never runs out of saplings. And like the situation right now is kind of worrying me because with the trees not growing as fast as they were in my test world, it's sort of disconcerting. But then again, it could be okay. Trying to sort of think here. Curious of what happens if we change that setting. Okay, yeah. Now it's actually, since we have it to each side has its own color, it's putting all our excess saplings when it drops off saplings, they're going over here, which I kind of like because actually that's really important because then we can set up our cargo distributor a little bit easier. So yeah. So there we go. Piece of cake. Alright, so that done, let's go ahead and set down our cargo distributor, and I'll sort of explain how this thing works. So I'm not exactly sure which side of this I want to put this on. On the bottom? We'll do it on the bottom. So just like our cargo manager, cargo distributor is also colored on every side. And its interface is going to look really complicated, but it's actually quite simple. What's all this mean? Basically, each of these colors here correspond to the 5 different sides of the cargo manager. Right, because one side always has to touch the manager, right? So the other sides are the only ones that are valid. And then we have a bunch of these little symbols down here, and it's like, okay, what does all this mean? Well, all of this down here basically corresponds to one of the inventories of the cargo manager. So basically what we can do is say, alright, let's say we want to, let me grab a torch here. Let's say we want to pump our stuff out of the blue side. Well, that's pretty simple. Let's say we want out of the blue side to pump everything that's our wood and our apples, since we sort of separated this out. That's easy enough. We go, okay, blue side, we're basically going to click and drag just the top left stuff to come out of there. So when it pumps, it's not going to take any saplings, it's just going to take the wood and apples because we've told it top left. Cool. So we can also then make sure that if we want to pump out saplings a different way, we can do that as well. So let me go ahead and get some things together, and we'll basically get this thing set up so that it's pumping out its items into a place where it can be used. So I'll do that and I'll be back. Alright, so I think I've got myself together here and figured out exactly how I want to go about this, and I'm actually going to do this with some more red power. I like red power, and it's been way too long since it's been available, so I'm going to make the most of it. So we're going to get ourselves a filter, and I'm also going to need to get myself a timer, which means I'm going to need a lot of stuff. So let's get started making some of this. Some of these little parts that we need. Apparently I'm out of redstone over there. Glad that we're actually getting through some of our materials here, because I'm going to make a couple of these just so that I have enough moving forward. We're also going to need just a few of these stone wires. Trying to remember if we need 2 or 3 of those. 3. So we need 3. And then we're also going to need one of those and a stone pointer, and that should do it. So this should be something like this. And then where our anodes go. There we go, timer. Because we're going to want to be able to tick this filter. So, let me sleep through the night real fast. Okay, so you can see I've built myself out a little bit of an area to work with. This is basically going to be where we're going to process all the materials that we're going to get from this farm. I think it's a pretty good idea to have this farm all supplying one thing. And what we could do later on, I think I probably will do, is we can actually expand this farm with maybe another separate car. That's probably not necessary. Probably just try to find a way to sort of snake this around, but that's for later. So I sort of dug out a little bit of an area here, and this is pretty much how we're going to do this. So first things first, I want to show you guys, basically I've got it set so the purple side is taking items from the top right and the top left. That means it's going to take all the wood and the apples as well as saplings. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a small problem. Actually, I am going to have a small problem where it's going to pull out all of the saplings from here and therefore not have any to give back to our cart here. And so I think I might know a way to fix that, but I'm gonna set up the basic system right now, and then we'll deal with fine-tuning later. So like I said, we got purple side is top left and top right, and you can see the purple side is the bottom. Normally, if you don't have a side set up yet, and you try to connect a pipe, you'll see it won't connect until you have to set it up first, and then you connect the pipe. So if you try to put a pipe in and then set it up, you're gonna have to break your pipe and then put it back. So you can see this pipe, however, will connect because we'd already set up the purple side. Then we're gonna set up a filter, which means, I hope I have my screwdriver on me. Good. I'm just gonna put this, if I can get down in the hole properly, just gonna put it right there, and then we're gonna flip it around that way, right, because things are gonna be coming in from that side. Cool. And we're just going to run our pneumatic tubing basically underground and up here. The reason why I'm running it this way is I'll be able to hide it really well with some brick covers. And then we can just run this like so. Cool. So now all we should need to do, let's actually test this with just a simple switch. This should pull. Should be pulling. Oh, I need to actually tell it what to take. So it's going to take apples and wood and get back there and saplings. So wood, apples, or saplings, apples, wood. So I wonder if this is not going to work. I honestly had not tested this before, so we're going to play around with this a little bit. Let's try maybe if we put the filter actually touching our... You might very well not be able to pull things out of the cargo manager, in which case I'm going to be very sad. Let's just test it. Did it pull anything? Doesn't look like it. Actually, I think it did. Come on. Down here. Yay, testing phase. Just to make sure this system is going to work. I don't know why I ran it like that. I really don't. Because that should be fine, just like so. And then of course I'm going to get stuck. Boom. Yep, it works. Just had to put our filter right up against the cargo distributor. Excellent. And so that's going to pull wood out. And it's also going to should pull out stacks at a time, which is really nice. There go the apples. There goes the wood. Cool. Awesome. And the more I think about it, I actually know exactly how I can get this to work, and it's going to be fairly foolproof. Now, I actually think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to swap this around, because I actually want to go ahead and put saplings there. Okay, and so now we can just cool. That's why we made the timer, so we can just do this automatically, but it's pulling out apples, it's pulling out wood. It should pull out pretty much everything. Like I said, we're going to have a small problem where we're going to need to be able to get saplings back to this, but we might actually be okay so long as we give our timer a good long enough of a tick time. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's see, dig under here, slap our timer down. There we go. Again, I like to face it so that unless I'm using other sides, I like to face it properly. Really probably don't need it to be that fast. I'm thinking closer to that is probably fine. Actually, probably longer than that. Because realistically, it's not going to... I'm thinking maybe closer to maybe 7 seconds. Because things are not going to be coming in here that quickly, so it doesn't need to tick that fast, and we don't need to be lagging ourselves up a whole lot. Wow, this thing really has quite a bit of power. That's cool. This thing grew a gigantic tree. So, yeah, so it's pretty much working. We can see we're already collecting quite a bit of materials over here. Awesome. So, you might be asking yourselves, okay, why did he go to all this trouble to get a bunch of wood and apples and saplings? Well, the reason for that is I'm looking ahead to getting a quarry going, and I think the preferred source of fuel for our quarry is going to be biofuel. So that's what this building is basically for. It's going to be for processing our wood into logs. I'll probably set up sawmills in here. Probably remove the one from our factory and just set it up in here. And it's also going to have stuff to produce biofuel and probably apple juice, I'm thinking. I haven't decided yet where everything's going to go, but yeah, this room is going to be cool. Obviously, this is kind of ignoring the fact that we were planning on building something for our railcraft stuff, but that's okay. So you can see this stuff is pretty much going at a good rate. Why? That's interesting. Dumped off its saplings into this inventory, but that's okay. It shouldn't. Honestly, shouldn't be. You know, I think this is just ticking slow enough that it's letting this thing keep its saplings. So, perfect. That is what I wanted to see. So, this thing is fully operational, so probably getting pretty close to the point where we need to call this episode, unfortunately. So why don't I clip it real quick, and I'm going to actually go ahead and make our, when I come back, I'm going to have the stuff together, and I'm going to make a item to start turning these saplings into biofuel. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to try to put this together real fast. You can see the recipe here. We're going to need quite a few bronze gears, so we're going to need 4 gears total. Try to make these really fast. Whoop. Not by doing it that way. So we're going to need a bunch of bronze gears. Still not enough. Thought I made enough bronze, but apparently not. How about that? It's probably still not enough, ultimately, no, not quite. I need just that much more. Bronze. Okay, we got our bronze gears. We're also going to need to make ourselves a sturdy casing, which we've made a couple times before. And it should be in the corners, I think. Glass on the sides. There we go. Fermenter. Awesome. So this thing is cool. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to run on Buildcraft power, and I'm thinking it'll probably end up going over... Trying to decide where's a good spot for it. Thinking probably... Actually, let's do it kind of in the middle of the room. I like that. It's a little bit different. There we go. Cool. So you can see the interface for it here. Basically, we're going to have to get some buildcraft power to it, and we're going to need to get some water into it. And it's going to take saplings and also basically a burnable fuel. In this case, it's going to be fertilizer, which is made like so. So we can make use of this apatite and our ash that we're getting from our engines over there. And that's pretty much going to do it. So basically, next episode, we are going to spend some time basically setting up a system to automatically craft everything we're going to need for the fertilizer to the water. Basically, we're going to set it up so this is producing biofuel, pumping into a tank, and it's going to be really cool. But unfortunately, this is where we're going to have to call this episode. This has been episode... Oh man, what episode have we been on? 19 of DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Modpack Let's Play Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you guys later.